What's up, guys? Kudo-kun here. So, as you probably know, I've been getting very much into Scattered Nexus recently, so what I've decided to do is channel that into something that I think will be fairly interesting to people who are in the Scattered Nexus community, or possibly just interested in Scattered Nexus as a concept and maybe want some new stuff to experiment with. So, what I'm going to be doing is a small series where I make one deck around each and every one of the current factions within the game. And in order to make this more of a challenge and to keep me from just defaulting to the absolute best stuff in the set for every single video that I do, for each of these, I am going to utilize the location that's featured in the set. So the rules are this. I have to use the faction's location at the beginning of the game, or I have to assume that this faction's location will be the one that I start the game with. Also, to keep these videos a bit snappier, I'm not going to do my detailed breakdowns, going over what every single one of the cards does, or explaining which card should be on the field, which card should be used in certain other areas. I'm going to basically only explain the interactions between the chosen faction and the two factions I've chosen to support the faction that is the main focus of the video. This video, for example, will focus on Aurora as the main faction, and we will have to use the city of Vash as our opening location. The two factions that I've chosen to support Aurora are going to be Dog of the Dead and Demon Eater, and I will show you exactly how the deck functions and some of the most interesting interactions you can do with this deck setup. Our Aurora deck is going to focus on an interesting interaction between Erin Runeaster and the Dead Arrival event card from the Dog of the Dead set. So you may be very confused right now because currently I have given my Erin Runeaster the Scared trait, which actually brings him down to 0 power and seems to make him useless. However, because of Erin's effect, I can actually weaken in order to use Dead Arrival's effect. So if you know what Dead Arrival's effect does, it essentially works a little bit like this. We're going to assume that I have some cards in my discard pile here. Ignore that location. I just sort of put the Dog of the Dead cards here. We're just going to put a bunch of random cards here in a discard pile. So currently, oh no, Erin Runeaster has 0 power. Let's go ahead and have him at least use his Weaken effect in order to get a card from the discard pile as a face-down character on the field. Now, let's read Dead Arrival's second effect here. You may then heal target character. Well, that's kind of neat. Let's go ahead and heal Erin Runeaster. I don't really have anybody else in play. Uh-oh. Oh dear. It would seem that Erin, the Necronaster, is back, healed, and ready to use his Weaken effect again. Let me go ahead and weaken here. See about getting another card in play. Oh, and would you look at that? Erin's healed again. So let me go ahead and just fill up my field here. Do this again. And we seem to have turned these two cards into a full field of face-down characters that we can attack with, or block with as the needs arise. Needless to say, when your opponent realizes exactly what you're doing with Erin's effect, they're going to want him off the field pronto. So we are going to utilize our location effect by just not really playing any of our other Aurora cards and using them as discard fodder to keeping Erin alive if he's targeted by damaging effects. The one exception to this is probably going to be Alinua, just because she has a healing effect, and healing effects are very powerful. So if, for whatever reason, you do need to play a character from Aurora, you can do so in Alinua, and that's pretty much the only character that should be hitting the field from the Aurora faction. One interaction that's fairly easy to forget about when using a deck type like this is that Dead Arrival, when it brings a card into play face down. So, for example, if I were to just so happen to bring, I don't know, this character here back into play with Dead Arrival face down, Alpha's effect, if flipped during battle, can bring a horror character in play to my hand. So if I want to, I can flip Alpha to get back whatever I got with that arrival into my hand so it can be played again. This also works with event cards. So if I were to have, let's say, go ahead and search through here for a decent event. Let's say that I have Alpha's Hunger in my discard pile and it ends up getting played through Dead Arrival. Right now, the card is actually just in all genre character. So when I do attack with Alpha or block with Alpha, I can flip in order to put this card back into my hand so it can be used later. While we're on the topic of Alpha's Hunger, this is a card that you probably shouldn't actually be using during a match with this type of deck. There are ways to build around Alpha's Hunger and actually make it a usable card, and you may be tempted to do the whole scare something with a Dog of the Dead event and then use Alpha's Hunger to finish it off, but most of the time I find that it's just a very inefficient use of 2 cards in your hand. What you actually want to be doing is using Alpha's Hunger as a face-down card in order to get the most value out of it. It's actually more valuable as just a face-down 1 impact character than it is an actual event card. If you're disappointed though, don't worry. I do have a deck further along in this series that will utilize Alpha's Hunger in a more interesting way. Since Erin doesn't have a whole lot of control with what he's bringing back using this little loop here, you'll want to do some things to try your best and control what these face down cards are going to be. One of my favorite things to do is to use Desperation here to discard a card from your hand, specifically so that you can bring it back with Erin's loop. So you discard a really good card like Alex and Boots from Dog of the Dead, and then you can bring back both Desperation and Alex as face down cards. Zombie Bite is kind of the same way. You can use Zombie Bite to control what you're getting back with Erin's effect simply by getting a character who's already used their flip effect, like Alex, for example, by flipping it in order to use its battle flip effect, and then sacrificing it for Zombie Bite. And then once it's been sacrificed for Zombie Bite, you can bring it back almost immediately by using Erin's effect to loop it back into play. While we're on the topic of Zombie Bite, I want to talk about another fairly interesting but ultimately useless thing that this deck can do. So if you happen to get both Dead Arrival and Zombie Bite attached to Erin, first of all, I hope you don't plan on ever using Erin for anything besides his magic. But secondly, you are going to be able to use Alinua to pull off a pretty neat thing. So keep in mind that Erin can use any trait attached to him. So what you can do is if you happen to get Zombie Bite attached to him as well, you can use Erin's effect to do Zombie Bite instead of Dead Arrival, sacrificing a character like Alex and Boots after it's been flipped. And then you can use Alinua to heal, and then you can continue your loop so that it doesn't break. But before you do that, I do want to remind you that this is a very, very greedy combo to try and pull off, and 95% of the time, your opponent is never going to let you pull this combo off, especially not to any degree that will give you any sort of advantage that just having Zombie Bite in your hand wouldn't already give you. So I definitely would not try to make this combo happen in a game, but do know that it's possible. Maybe if you are in a very, very decent position, or you just want to try this out to style on your opponent, you can technically do this combo. Since the deck will strongly be utilizing face-down character cards, do not forget to utilize Saturno in your field building. It's very easy to just get lost in the loop and just fill your entire field up in one turn with 4 face-down cards, but keep in mind that this current field here is worth 4 impact worth of damage. But with just 2 cards and Saturno in play, then I still have 4 impact worth of power in play, but I also have an open spot here to play something like a Zombie Bite or play a defensive spell like the Divine Spell in Aurora to keep my poor Erin alive. Just because we haven't gotten too much of a chance to talk about what Demon Eater brings to the deck, I want to remind you that all 4 of these characters are cards that are very good to have face down on the field, and you can flip all of them to get some kind of value out of them. So what you really want to be doing is using Erin's effect to bring these characters into play, and then once they get discarded, immediately using Erin to play them back to the field as a face-down character with Dead Arrival, and then looping this over and over again. When it comes to which characters you actually want, honestly, Alex and Boots is going to be your obvious choice here. And I suppose if you really need to, you can get Yappy, but Yappy should definitely never be prioritized over Alex. Alpha is extremely, extremely good. Please do not forget about the fact that face down cards, once again, say it with me, folks, face down cards are horror characters. So if you use Erin's effects to get any really good event cards or any really good character cards face down on your field, you can flip Alpha to put that card back in your hand. This is a really, really good way to recycle your event cards, and it's the only way to recycle event cards outside of playing Dauntless. Alrighty guys, that'll do it for this one. If you get a chance to try out the deck, then please let me know what shenanigans ensue, and let me know how you enjoy it in the Discord or in the comments section below. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, it's me, Filthy Cheater Kudo here. Thank you so much for waiting till the end of the video. It really means a lot. Hey, so I wanted to let you know, if you actually are going to play this deck, and you actually want to win some of your games, what you should actually do is take out Demon Eater and put in Tech Gal. You're going to get a lot more value out of the Prepare trait, and you're going to get some really, really good card draw, and that's actually going to let you enable your combo even faster. And also, you should use the Dog of the Dead location instead of the Aurora location, because it actually makes it so that you can discard your flip characters as soon as they flip for their effect, and the healing is going to keep Erin alive even longer. However, saying all this stuff here actually breaks the rules that I imposed on myself at the beginning of all of this, so technically I can't put it in the video, but I mean, as long as you keep it between us, it should be okay, right? Okay, thank you again for watching. Love you. Have fun.